Life Unrehearsed, brought to you by Lianas Senior Transition Support, helping you navigate home care and senior residences.
Welcome back. You're listening to Life Unrehearsed. My name is Matt Delvecchio, and today, February 4th, is World Cancer Day. We're celebrating today in the fight against cancer. And so far, we've talked technology, wonderful donors, the research and medical aspects of cancer. But probably the most important topic is how it affects individuals and how they cope with this brutal disease. And let's bring in Eddy Nolan. Eddy has lived with throat cancer for 12 years. Eddy, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Well, good afternoon, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing well, Eddy. Thank you for joining us here on Life Unrehearsed on a Saturday. You bring the human aspect here, and when you were diagnosed in 2011, Eddy, I understand you asked your doctor if you would survive, and how did the doctor respond to you?
Well, I kind of asked him in a bit of more of an aggressive way, to be honest, but they answered me that they couldn't give me an answer, that I was definitely going to be in for a rough fight, and that was basically it.
Yeah, get ready for a long road, and a fight is right. And so can you tell our listeners, what was the treatment process for this form of throat cancer that you had?
Matt, right now, it's hard to hear you because I keep getting a beeping sound like a phone being busy.
Oh, really? Okay. We're going to try this again. Can you tell us about the treatment process for your throat cancer?
Okay, what basically I did was I started with a few bouts of chemo because they told me the cancer was very aggressive. It was in the fourth stage. And we started off with, I think it was about 3 bouts of chemo. And then we had 36 days straight of radiation. And that was pretty brutal near the end. I mean, it didn't feel that bad going through it in the beginning, but when you got down to the last few weeks, the skin and the face and the neck, it all started to burn very bad.
Oh, 36 days straight. Now, I would imagine, Eddy, did this affect your ability to eat or even talk? Oh, yeah, we apologize for that. We're having technical issues today, and we're going to try to get a hold of Eddy again. So could you imagine 36 days straight having to do with chemo, and Eddy having to deal with throat cancer and being told, am I going to survive? And the answer being from the doctors, well, you're going to be in for a big fight, Eddy. And he is a fighter. And I'll give you a little bit of a background because, let's think about this. This is going back 12 years. You heard his voice, and he's dealing with throat cancer. Can't imagine, because for sure that does affect your voice and ability to eat. And yet he still perseveres. Eddy Nolan has been wanting to give back even before this diagnosis. He has been running the Terry Fox Run, a real hero to him. He's been doing it since the beginning. He's done 42 years of Terry Fox runs, and it's just, he is determined to talk about advanced cancer research, and that's why one of the reasons why we wanted to get him on the show. He is a fighter, and it's not woe is me. He is a fighter, and he's determined, one, to fight this himself, but also to give back in so many ways. And he is an ambassador, actually, for the MUHC, and he's been generous enough to take some time here on a Saturday, raising a lot of dollars. And so could you imagine, 42 years of running Terry Fox, and all right, and I think we might have Eddy back on the line. Eddy, can you hear us now?
Just barely. There's some kind of a noise going on again.
Well, you know what, Eddy? You've been a fighter, and I'm sure you've been through a lot worse than this, so hang in there, and we're going to get through this. I was just telling everyone, you are really determined to advance cancer research, Eddy. And can you tell us about your Terry Fox runs? From what I understand, you've been doing it since the beginning, 42 years. Is that correct?
That's correct, Matt. Now we're in business. I can hear you clearly.
All right.
Yeah, for the past, I was inspired like every other Canadian across the country. Unfortunately, I didn't know Terry was coming into Montreal, and neither did many people know about it. At the time he hit Montreal, I think it was back in June of 1980. And like I said, I was training for the Montreal Marathon myself, and Terry was my inspiration. The minute I saw him and they said he was running a marathon a day, I doubted everything. But I followed his story. And what most moved me about his story was his reasons for doing what he was doing. It was about children in the cancer ward. And once I found that out, and I followed his story right up till the day he passed away. And in 1981, we had the very first Terry Fox run up in Beaver Lake on Mount Royal, and I attended. And there was a certificate with 20 years for stickers, and I said, well, if I make 20, I'll be 43 years old, and we'll see what happens. But it's once I got through the 20 years, when I hit my 30th year, is when I was diagnosed with the cancer, stage 4 cancer. But Terry's always been my inspiration.
Sure.
His reasons for doing it. I mean, this kid was the one in a million, and I just been sticking at it for, like I say, this year it'll be, I think, number 43 coming up this year.
Incredible. Listening to Life Unrehearsed, and we're talking with Eddy Nolan. He has throat cancer. He's been fighting it since 2011. And, Eddy, as we were heading into the week leading up to today, I believe you're still going through some cancer treatments, and we weren't even sure if we were going to be able to do this interview today. Can you let our listeners know, where are you at? What's the latest status for you?
Well, right now, Matt, the past year, I've been back on a feeding tube and a trachea in my throat to help me breathe. And we're down to the one last chance of trying to do something with this, because I've been extremely having a hard time with just living on booze for the past year and not being able to eat or drink anything by mouth. So it's been quite a challenge. And my oncologist, we met again on December 9th, and she informed me that my larynx was not working anymore, and that there was one more thing they can do. They can remove the larynx. I'll lose my voice, but they can reconstruct some kind of a thing in my throat that's going to allow me to eventually be able to eat, and whatever I put in my mouth will go directly into my stomach. So this kind of got me really excited, and it's a long surgery. Apparently it's anywhere between 5 and 9 hours, but I want to eat again. I want to keep running. I still want to be involved with the kids in the schools, speaking to children and keeping the next generation of children going with the Terry Fox Foundation and explaining about cancer research, that it's a dreadful disease. Anybody can get it. And like myself, after 30 years of running, I said, well, this is really unfair. Here I am trying to run for other people, and I get cancer. But I mean, one kid at the school told me, he said, why is it so unfair that you get it? And I thought about it, and I said, this little guy is right. Why should I be any different? I mean, it's people say, well, you smoke, you drink, whatever. But, I have friends never lit a cigarette or had a drink in their life and died of cancer. So, I mean, it's something we got to just keep going on, getting more, research dollars in there. There's been tremendous amount of research, like I know today, and Terry Fox would probably still have a leg. It was proven now with the research that was done. His type of cancer was osteogenic sarcoma. Terry would still have his leg with the advances made. So that keeps us going and inspiring us.
Such a good point, Eddy, and you are inspiring us. I could only wish you much strength and courage, Eddy, and I want to thank you very much for joining us here on Life Unrehearsed to tell your story.
Thank you so much, Matt. It's been a pleasure.
All right, that's Eddy Nolan fighting his way through throat cancer, and really a true inspiration to all of us. All right, thank you very much for tuning in to Life Unrehearsed, and as a reminder, for all your inquiries or assistance with life transitions, elder care planning, and the senior living industry, it'd be my pleasure to help, and you can find out more if you look up Lianas Senior Transition Support. That's Lianas, Lianas, Senior Transition Support. And many thanks to our technical producer, Dean. We did it. Good job. And you can listen to Life Unrehearsed here on CJD 800 every Saturday at 3 p.m.